we continue our Oakland University theme, and we're going to check in now via Zoom with John Young. He is a chair for the Rochester Community, the Rochester Chamber of Commerce, and an Oakland University vice president. He is a communications and marketing person at Oakland University. John Young, yeah, you're looking good on the Megacast. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Pleasure to be here.
Yeah, it's good to be here. And a huge thank you to the entire Oakland University community. A, you've been doing amazing things. B, thank you for allowing us to broadcast today on Facebook Live. I know you got thousands and thousands of followers. They're probably the biggest audience we've had yet for the show. Thanks to you today, and we really appreciate it.
Very good. I'm excited to be here.
Well, good to have you. So you've got a dual role. You're with the Rochester Chamber and also Oakland University, and that's got to match up pretty well. Talk a little bit about that.
It does. Oakland University is very active throughout all the communities, Rochester, Rochester Hills, Auburn Hills, Oakland Township, Pontiac, the entire county. But, we serve both Oakland and Macomb counties. I've been on the chamber board for a couple years, and you do the steps up from secretary to vice chair to chair. Little did I realize when Judge Julie Nicholson handed off the chair in December what was in store for 2020. It's been very exciting, but our entire board has bonded very well together to help out staff and the membership as much as we can.
I know you're doing a good job in your hard work in Rochester, just as our other chambers. We've talked to the chambers in virtually all of our communities across Oakland County. And look, we like to do that. Can we learn something every time we talk to somebody that you don't see in the news? We learn something that's going on, and it isn't easy. I mean, your local businesses have their hands full surviving day to day. Now we got the new curbside retail happening, and more businesses are beginning to open up. Can you give us the temperature of the Rochester business community as we sit here today?
Well, the temperature, that's interesting. I would say the Rochester area businesses are very resilient, moved quickly to curbside and trying to figure out delivery. I'll give a lot of credit to our elected officials. Mayor Barnett makes sure that, as they're coming into work at City Hall even with a limited staff and distance with their spacing, that they're taking advantage of delivery and the restaurants in town. Same thing with Stewart, with Rochester, City of Rochester. So I think people have rallied to try and, take delivery more, to help each other out. The staff at the chamber has been great in terms of helping businesses, initially get over two hurdles. One was the sense of, this is going to be for a couple of weeks and we can get through this. And that first, remember the Family First Coronavirus Act, it seems like, another century ago, but, small businesses weren't quite sure what to do with that. So helping them navigate, now there's the CARES Act that's come into place, but, a lot of small businesses missed that first wave. So Elena and Maggie and folks at the chamber have been trying to help them, get through it. And sometimes it's even moral support, because the big part of all the chambers is the networking, the connections, keeping civic and business and community together. And when you have to do that by way of Zoom and electronics, you lose a bit of it. But on the other hand, connecting those folks, being moral support, having the website where people can have Q&A answered, posting a weekly, every Wednesday update where the mayors give a quick update, where people can post questions, has been helpful to keep those connections going. It has been pretty devastating when you think of the main thoroughfares, Rochester Road or Walton/University Boulevard. A couple of weeks ago, 2 months ago, you couldn't move. It was, jammed. And it went down to, a few cars on there. And that fundamentally changed, how we function, what we do. But people have been rallying. People have, paid attention to friends, families, neighbors. The other thing that's occurring is what I would call more of the old-fashioned barter community and commerce of, somebody can shop and pick up things, or a business has supplies that they can, literally trade with somebody else. So in some ways, in 2020, we've gone back to 1920 and maybe even 1820 to keep things moving.
See, John, I knew if I just got out of the way and I let you talk that we would hear a really good story and something new. It happens on every interview, and you know what? That it's brilliant what you mentioned, and thank you for giving me an idea of what the sense is of the business community in Rochester. But barter. What a great time to be doing more barter. Why not? Your business is slowing down. Nobody really has any cash, and if they do, they want to preserve it. And
Right.
so you need a little bit of this, and I got a little bit of that, and we can do a little old school barter. Why not do it? That's a really good idea, and I'm glad to hear that kind of thing is going on. And yeah, I'm noticing the same thing on the roads. I mean, there's very few people on the roads. We're starting to see a few more, but it is an indication of how well our businesses and individuals are doing, abiding by the rules of the governor. We certainly don't like every one of them, but, people seem to really be doing their part. Let's talk real quickly about the university as well.
Sure.
I think the university has been amazing. The programs you've been doing, food distribution, getting your plans out in front of potential students, and just so many things going on in campus people don't even know about. It's been great to see all that happening. So
Yeah, the
congratulations
food
on that.
distribution has been amazing, and it's a real source of pride for alumni that everybody knows the student union no matter where you go to school, but students and alumni and faculty and even folks who have visited know the OC. And when you see the pictures of, as I told Dean Corcoran, who heads up a lot of our community outreach effort, I was in there a couple of days ago, and I said, Kevin, now I know where all the Honey Nut Cheerios are in the county. You guys must have 5,000 boxes. And I said, this is really kind of cool because I've seen blessings in a backpack and the things Rochester schools are doing for the free and reduced lunch. I said, but these are name brands. When somebody opens a box and you see Campbell's soup and and real Cheerios and brand name products, it's like, somebody really cared, one, to put this together, two, to do the outreach. It's interesting. We were looking at some historical photos, and Matilda Dodge Wilson with the Salvation Army trucks. There is a photo that will be going up on our website of Matilda and a few other women of the community from Rochester, Rochester Hills, and probably Auburn Heights in those days, as it was called, out actively taking care of folks. This was, the beginning of the war, 1942, but, the same level of economic hardship and, fear that existed. So in many ways, we are staying true to our roots, and there have been a lot of folks who have mobilized quickly to take care of all of our communities, which is kind of a challenge given everything that's happening with
Well,
us.
John, I appreciate you bringing that up, and it is good to get a historical perspective of where our country's been in the past. This is not the first crisis. We have fought wars, survived past pandemics, disease, all kinds of crisis. And at some point, at some level, it brings us together, and I see so much of that happening right now. I thank you for joining us. Anything else you want to mention? Your stories are great because it's the same. And for folks that are listening in West Bloomfield and Kego and Birmingham and Troy and the other communities, we're all going through the same thing, and it's just great to hear your story, a similar story to what we're facing in other communities. So we all know, really, across Oakland County, across our state, and across our country, we're all in this together, trying to just do the best we can. And we've seen great stories of people being able to pivot and come up with some new solutions, whether they're making masks or PPE or, getting out and supporting the first responders and our medical workers. If you want, this has been a tough time, but if you want to find some good, all you got to do is just open up your eyes and look around Rochester and West Bloomfield and Birmingham and Troy and Pontiac. You see a lot of amazing things going on. We got to run along. Anything you want to add about anything else going on in your community or at Oakland U?
Yeah, just one last piece, because a lot of our faculty live in the various communities. Kind of a shout out to them. They did a monumental effort to convert to remote and online, both for the end of this semester and for our summer sessions. So thank you to them for everything that they did. Not easy, not much time to do it. And they're also, like I said, they live in the Rochester Hills, Auburn Hills, Oakland Township, West Bloomfield, Keego Harbor area. So just a thank you to them for, also being unsung heroes. They didn't sign up to be Zoom stars. They signed up to teach a lecture in a lecture hall.
No, I think at the end of the day, we're going to learn. I think students are going to learn. Maybe they're only going to learn about dealing with adversity or getting creative or being able to pivot. But students are going to learn out all this, and there is going to be a lot of good. And it's thanks to leadership from people like you and the educators that you talked about and everybody else. Hey, John, thank you so much for taking a couple of minutes for us. Good to meet you. And
thank you.
As I mentioned in the air a little while ago, I drove right by the university the other day, and I just saw a busier time with students walking around campus and maybe a bunch of people at Meadowbrook going to a DSO concert, and these days will return. They will return.
They will. Absolutely will return.
They will.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. He is John Young. He is the chair of the Rochester Chamber of Commerce and Oakland University Vice President for Communications and Marketing. And we salute all of you at Oakland University, students, athletes, teachers, administration, and so many people doing so much good. Good to have you with us on the show.